Of course, the higher you get in the ranks, the more money that get into it. So if you are transporting the drugs at a higher level, you might get some more.
มือปานไรพวกนี้พวกต้องให้กินส่วนในส่วนต้องได้ทำมันนำป้อกินป้อย่ามให้มันป้อมีเงินได้ใจเรื่องเนาะ
ลูกเปิ้นกินก็มดีลูกเฮากินก็มดีผมเฮากินก็มดีผมเปิ้นกินก็มดีในการคิดตักเบิ่งนั่นนะ
This is the Myanmar that the government wants foreign visitors to see. But not far away, just over these mountains in southern Shan State, lies another world where tourists are definitely not welcome. This is opium country, tucked away near the notorious Golden Triangle, almost 600 square kilometres carpeted by poppies. Myanmar, better known to many people as Burma, is now the world's second biggest producer of opium after Afghanistan.
เขาเฮ็ดมาแล้วตัวแล้วห่างดีขึ้นสิๆกะต้องไปไล่เป็นหมักหมอกเฮงไว้หมักมาเลยคิดอะไรเอาให้เนาะว่าอะไรคิดอะไรเอามาเอาจุ่มหนาวค่ะเงินออกเอาค่ะ
For workers like Nam Kam Srey, poppies are simply a valuable crop.
มือปานไรพวกนี้พวกต้องให้กินส่วนในส่วนต้องได้ทำมันนำป้อกินป้อย่ามให้มันป้อมีเงินได้ใจเรื่องเนาะทำไรส่งลึกขึ้นเกี้ยวให้นั่นนี่ส่งก็เลยมาผูกยาในเพิ่นก็อ่อนกันผูกมาห่อผูกจ้อมให้นั่นค่ะเนาะเพราะนั้นเพิ่นถึงปานมาตอหลีทำแต่ว่าแค่ใจอินขนาด
Nung has never tried opium and has only the vaguest idea of what happens to the cans of sticky sap once the trader collects them from her village. The United Nations estimates around 200,000 households are involved in poppy cultivation across Myanmar. The harvest has more than doubled in the last decade.
คนไรเฮ็ดฮู้ถึงไอ้ก่อนค่ะก็จะว่าทำใจหือค่ะนะเละถั่วยามาอะไรก็ให้ก้นกินก็มีให้นั่นน่ะเนาะมันเอาเป็นเพศอะก้นนี่ก่อนค่ะก็จะว่าใจหือเลยว่าเปิ้นอ่อนเฮ็ดมาเฮาก็เป็นปานลูกปานนานให้ไรเฮ็ดซ้อมให้นั่นเนาะซ้อมเฮ็ดซ้อมก็ทำบ่มีเฮาไรกินมาเขาค่ะทำไรกินว่าทำจะทำเฮาคำไรเฮ็ดซ้อมเป็นปานปูปานมอนให้นั่นค่ะ
On average, each worker makes less than $1,000 a year. Taxes from the trade have helped to bankroll one of the world's longest-running civil wars between ethnic Shan and the Burmese military.
เลยสร้างขวัญเนี่ยเลยสร้างกูผีค่ะในฝันดีที่จะเหรอใครเขาคำหูเขาเพิ่นว่าย้อนกับเขาเลยปั่นนี่นะเนี่ย
All sides in this conflict are believed to have lined their pockets with drug money, including some in the military regime that ruled the country until recently.
The opium is fueling conflict, but conflict is also fueling opium production. So in that sense, it's right there, it's at the core. The local farmers are not getting rich on this opium production, not at all. This is a way to survive. Of course, the higher you get in the ranks, the more money that get into it. So if you are transporting the drugs at a higher level, you might get some more. If you're talking about the top, for sure it's organized crime.
Once the opium is harvested, the traders collect the product from the farm gate, sometimes in exchange for pre-ordered goods. It's the Shan State equivalent of online shopping. The opium is carried down from the mountains by traders, trucks, and literally by drug mules. Closer to the border, it's turned into heroin and smuggled through China, Thailand, and onto the global market, including Australia.
We're talking about tons and tons of heroin. And unfortunately for Australia, that heroin is on a large scale going to Australia. It's not coming from Afghanistan. So I think most Australians would probably think it's coming from Afghanistan, but it's not true. It's actually from Myanmar.
As much as 80% of Australia's heroin comes from here, but most of the crop doesn't make it that far. It ends up in China, which has by far the largest number of heroin users in Asia. We're heading to northern Shan State, following the busy trading route that carries Myanmar's timber, gold, gemstones and opium to the outside world. This narrow mountain road was once a key supply route for Allied forces in World War II. Thousands of mostly Chinese labourers died building it. These days, the victims are usually the trucks. A misjudged turn can be fatal, though more often it means a long traffic jam. In our case, 22 hours. At long last, we move again. The traffic event has been the talk of Myanmar. At the end of the road is the bustling border town of Musei. It's Myanmar's busiest border crossing to China. Trade both ways is approaching $5 billion this year. The locals all want a piece of the action. But not all Myanmar's opium leaves the country. Locally, the supply is cheap and all too abundant, as we discover just a short distance away. Like so many small towns here in northern Shan and bordering Kachin State, Nant Pekhar is in the grip of an epidemic. It's isolated, there are very few jobs, and it's flooded with pure heroin. 68-year-old Dor Lee has buried 2 of her sons.
Mà tuy đó nào cha rồi sinh tống là cha rồi chính cha mà về đi tham mi đi, từ đó sống xả bạ, mà tôi mà lấy cụ cháu đó sống xả bạ, đam mê chứ mà lại bị mà em mà lúc đó con biết số lại ra bỏ tua lúc xe nào xe lấy bây mà tông con đi lên nè đó. Tu tên này tu sống đó rồi, nó hồ công cha rồi, tô mà số rồi, tu hà tu thô bi mà, elu lê đó mà tên này rồi lu bê.
I understand you have 3 sons, and one of them is still alive, still with us. Can you tell me about his situation?
Tu cha rồi lê asa anh cái này tung xoay bi mà rồi thoát đó rồi. ကျမလေးသူတို့သူ့အကိုဒီလိုများဖြစ်မလားဆိုတော့စိတ်ထဲမှာတော့ပူတာပေါ့ဒါမဲ့သူလေသူ့ကိုယ်တော့သူကယူတော့နည်းနည်းဟိုဖြစ်မယ်တင်တယ်ကိုသူ့ကိုသူလဲဘယ်လိုပြောမလဲဗမာလိုပြောတော့သူလေသူ့အကိုတို့လိုမဖြစ်စေချင်အောင်တော့သူ့မှာလေကြိုးစားမှုတော့ရှိမနေတူတယ်
Dorley's oldest two sons are buried here. It takes a while to find their graves. Incredibly, the local pastor says he's buried 336 drug users from his congregation alone. There's no escaping the epidemic. As we're about to finish filming in the cemetery, a man wanders in to shoot up. Some heroin users do seek help. This is about as basic as rehab gets. It's run by the local church. Users are forced to quit cold turkey. In a community of just 20,000 people, there are 22 church-run rehab centres maintained by Pastor Brung Ong and other ministers.
So if you were walking down the street and you met 5 men, how many do you think would be using heroin?
Yeah, 2 or 3, yeah.
2 or 3 out of every 5 people here are probably using heroin. That's huge. It's a huge problem.
All of the addicts here are Kachin Christians. Naura has been using for 20 years.
Nya tay lu sa phe sa nga na sakrung khom sai a ma joe nyek sa ni mung lai ka pha chi mung lu skut la ma lai skut mi yu ti mung ngai tha nan acham nga ma joe ya te ni du khra re ti mung ma nim re kru tim ngai the raw nga la ngai mi mung ngai ma ni lai ka ma ni the raw lu nga ti mung ngai go lek sang ga bai ka wai sakrung khom sa lu ai chi ju tu mai kum khrang chmian nan ngan dai dai khne ma ma chi khne po khne ma chi kan khne ma chi le go la sa ma kha ko ma chi khna ne si ne te phe an the ngai khai kham sha le yi ngai khai kham sha de ku le
The government does nothing about the spiralling addiction here. Drug traffickers operate freely, while this clinic is left to struggle with nothing more than goodwill and song.
If there's no change, what happens to this town?
This town where we are now, gone.
Because of heroin?
Yeah, because of the heroin.
มาขอใจอ่อนใจปีเอาไว้หิมเลอต่างหักใจเมาได้ไว้ตอนตาเผลอไว้มาวันหนึ่งอำเภอ
The Shan people are Myanmar's largest minority. For centuries they have occupied the Shan Plateau that descends from the mountains of western China. Like many of Myanmar's minorities, they suffered under the Burmese military. They have few economic prospects other than opium production. We're on the way to meet a determined group of villagers who've decided to try something new. And if it works, there's hope it could bring change to the entire region. Until recently, this area was the front line. For more than 60 years, the Shan State Army and other insurgent groups fought the Burmese military for an independent homeland. The conflict claimed thousands of lives and forced many people into makeshift camps. To the north, the fighting continues, but here a ceasefire means it's mostly calm for now. But no one really knows how long it will last.
Hello.
As we make our way along the dirt track, our convoy encounters a Shan State Army roadblock.
Nice to meet you.
They're not about to admit to a foreign film crew that they have anything to do with the opium crop.
ลองป้ายบอกมีแต่นะมุกจุ้งค่ะแต่มีหาเนาะลองเกี่ยวข้องอย่างเนี่ยอันที่ว่าเฮาเปลี่ยนปังตึกกันแล้วก็ที่เลยตกลงกันมาตัดสินใจนั่นก็เป็นลองตาแล้วก็เพียวยามไม่ยามเมากำก็เฮาก็เพียวมื้อเดียวในตีให้เพียวเต้ๆมันก็ไปจังหีเพียวเฮาเนาะเพราะอันตาได้ผูกเตียนต่างมันก็ไปมาในเฮาเนาะอันมักซื้อมันจึงก็ไปจังหีมันได้ให้มวยกำเหลียวก็มันก็มวยไหลเนาะ
Alternative crops are an idea that's been tried before, with rubber trees, sesame, even citrus fruit all failing to deliver farmers an income that matches opium. This time, the United Nations is banking on coffee. So far, 800 opium farming families have signed up to the UN's crop substitution program, and the first small batch of coffee is expected at the end of the year. Here in isolated Panglium village, locals have few foreign visitors other than the occasional UN official.
Hello everyone, Masaka.
After years of being trapped in the opium trade, they're keen to take control of their lives. Opium has underpinned much of Myanmar's recent economic development, but they're not seeing the benefits in remote areas like this.
I think I'm ready to live in Shan State now.
One of the early adopters of the UN coffee program is Pa Nu, who's lived here all of her 67 years.
This is where you live, is it?
อ๋อน่าเป็นเพิ่นค่ะอ๋อเฮาค่ะค่ะถูกเรามาเลยมาถึงเพิ่นเฮาค่ะ
Thank you very much. Thank you.
อมไผอุ่นหันเนากิ้งหมูนะ
อุ่นนะ
แม่ปานูก็เกิดตีนายแม่ปานูก็เกิดตีนายค่ะจ่าตี้จ่าแตะกับนายแจกได้ค่ะแม่ปานูนายเหมือนซึ่งเกิดเพราะว่าเปลี่ยนมาไหน
After the fire, Pa Nu's husband died, leaving her to raise the children in the midst of a civil war.
เพราะว่าลูกเบิ่งติดมาปลายมาก็มาผูกซื้อนั่นหมก20ปีนี่กี่กว่าหมก20ปีได้เนาะ20ปีได้อะหมก20ปีมาได้กี่ค่ะไผกินก้อมดีไผเฮ็ดก้อมดีลูกเปิ้นกินก้อมดีลูกเฮากินก้อมดีผู้เฮากินก้อมดีผู้เปิ้นกินก้อมดีในการพิดปักเบิ่งนั่นน่ะเฮาคาในมีน้ำใจใครเฮ็ดอะค่ะเหมือนซึ่งหนังในเฮิรนเฮาคาได้เมื่อเหลียวใน เฮาคาได้เน็ตค่าใจกอพี่ค่ะ
Like many Shan men, Pa Nu's son left for Thailand to find employment. She hopes that one day she'll sell enough coffee to bring him home.
ในเฮาคาสุดจะมาแบ่งกอพี่นั่นน่ะดังมุงมองของเฮาคาในต่อลูกต่อหลานต่อโซชุดปานไหนค่ะเฮามึนตาหันเบิ่นนั่งผ้าห่มลินเบิ่งในค่ะ
Hope is running high right across Myanmar after the historic election that saw the end of military rule. The new democratically elected government must bring stability to a nation where few remember peace.
Oh there, Yabi.
Some just aren't prepared to wait. In northern Myanmar, anti-drug vigilantes have begun destroying poppy fields and banishing drug dealers, fighting back against a trade that has ruined thousands of lives. Many here want change.
အခုကအစိုးရကနေမလုပ်လို့ပေါ့အခုကဒီလိုဖြစ်မယ်ဆိုတော့လေသူတို့မှာသူများနောက်ကနေအိမ်နဲ့လိုက်ထိုးပေးတော့သူတို့ခမရလဲဝဝနဲ့တဘောရှိတာပေါ့မဖြတ်ဘူးဆိုရင်လဲဖြတ်တဲ့နေရာကျတော့ဖြတ်တယ်မဖြတ်ဘူးတဲ့နေရာဆိုရင်လဲပြန်ဖြတ်တဲ့နေရာတွေလည်းအများကြီးရှိတာပေါ့ကျမတော့တွေ့ရင်တော့ပညာတော့ပေးပါတယ်เนาะသူတို့မိဘတွေရောကလေးတွေရောပေါ့เนาะကျမသားလို့မဖြစ်အောင်ပေါ့သူတို့တော့အားပေးပါတယ်ကျမအနေနဲ့တော့เนาะတွေ့မယ်လို့တော့ထင်တာပဲနိဗ္ဗာန်မှာဒါပေမဲ့အခုကျမတို့ဒီလောကလူအချင်းချင်းပြောကြတဲ့ပုံစံဆိုတော့နိဗ္ဗာန်ရောက်သွားလို့ရှိရင်တော့ကိုယ်သားမှမသိတရွယ်သေးဖြစ်သွားတယ်လို့လည်းပြောကြတာပဲဒါမဲ့ပြန်တွေ့ကြတယ်လို့လည်းပြောကြတာပဲတွေ့မယ်လို့တော့ထင်တယ်
ก็มกุ้มกินก็แม่กินจ้างใจเดินมาเฮ็ดแม่ว่นปันเฮ็ดเขาเลยสืบยาวกว่ากินกว่าก็พี่จังว่าแม่ก็เฮ็ดด้วยปันพอเขามาเนี่ยเขาเลยเฮ็ดกว่ากันก็พี่จำแม่เฮ็ดไว้พอแม่ตายแม่เมียเขาเลยเฮ็ดกว่ากัน
có lại ô tạm ngã tê lại năng khai ba có lại ô mũ sơ tê lại hấp khai nơ